Which celebrity did you meet and found they were much kinder / ruder than you expected? Terry Crews went to my college. My boss was his rap and would tell us how he was just this giant football player and my boss was a 5'3" chubby redhead nerd with big glasses who had to enforce the rules. So Terry was popular and would have these cool people to his room, and once my boss had to go and shut it down after a complaint from the dorm supervisor. So my boss goes and knocks at the door, which Terry opened, and said he was totally dwarfed and staring up at this hulking, muscular guy. He squeaked out, "Can you please turn down the music?" And Terry stared at him, then let out this big laugh and said, "Oh no, I didn't realize how late it was. Sorry, dude. I'll turn it down." Then invited him to stop by later for snacks and to hang out with the other jocks if he got hungry after rounds. Boss said he was the nicest resident he ever had and never played loud music after curfew again. Terry Crews seems like a giant teddy bear. I'm so glad he isn't an ass. I've worked with him and he is one of the kindest human beings I've ever met. An absolute gentleman with a heart of gold. I was about 8 when I stumbled across Stephen King. He was in a rush getting out of a limo into a building, so I quick shouted, "Mr. King, I love Cujo." He gave me a bemused smile and said, "Who the hell let this kid read Cujo?" Kinda. In 2017 I sat next to John Cusack on a 90-minute flight, just the two of us. I'd luckily been upgraded to business class. He was clearly trying to be incognito, so I said nothing and gave him his space. Eventually he started engaging me, and I got to gush about how big a fan I was, and even compliment him on his choreography in a scene in War Incorporated. He seemed genuinely thrilled with the compliment and started enthusiastically telling me about the training he does, etc. Graciously agreed to a photo once we landed, and as he was leaving he turned around to tell me to wish my mother a happy Mother's Day. It was Mother's Day weekend. 10/10ths awesome guy. Also, Chad Kroger. Incredibly down to earth and kind, no matter what you think of his music. Met him backstage in 2002 when they were absolutely massive. At one point I approached him and asked him a couple questions about the main riff on one of their older tracks. And he was like, "You play one of our songs? I need to see this." And got a guitar tech to tune an acoustic to drop D and had me play the whole thing. Not only did he seem super happy, but he even spent like 10 minutes teaching me some of the nuances to the riffs and the solo. Put me in a headlock for a photo, etc. I grew out of their music long ago, but I would 100% shake that guy's hand if I ever see him again. Bobby Flay is a complete douche. Did you wait to write this for 10 peeping years? Nick Offerman is a gem of a human being. He came to my small college in an Illinois suburb for a book tour thing, and I was in an a cappella group at the time and we were rehearsing in the building where he was doing the signing, and he accidentally walked in on us and ended up staying to listen to a song, complimented us, hung out for 5 minutes, and signed stuff for all of us. Super genuine. Funny guy. Nick Offerman was a fine arts major at the University of Illinois, and I worked in the ticket office in the university's main performing arts center years after he graduated. He was on campus for the American Ham Tour, and as I'm sitting at the ticket office counter during the day shift, I see him walking slowly through the main lobby with another person when he stops, points at a random spot on the ground, and says, "That's where I lost my virginity," and then just continues on his way. I worked with Mads Mikkelsen. He is the nicest person you will ever meet. Zero ego. Just a pleasure to work with. Mr. T. When I was in high school early 1990s, my friends and I worked at a golf course that was across the street from Mr. T's house. During lunch, my friends and I would walk 5 minutes to the downtown area for lunch. One day while we are walking to lunch, Mr. T was pulling into his gated driveway. We said, "Hey Mr. T," and waved at him. He asked us what we were doing, and after finding out we were going to lunch, he invited us to have lunch with him, since that is what he was doing. We are sitting on his patio eating grilled chicken with Mr. T telling stories about growing up poor and working really hard to earn what he had. He talked a lot about family and its importance to him. It was pretty surreal. Mr. T was just the persona. He was actually a very funny, down-to-earth and truthfully empathetic guy. Every day after that, whenever we would see Mr. T, he would always say hi and take a few minutes to chat. And everything was always so positive. I always greatly respected him after that day. Saw Ryan Gosling at my brother's graduation. His mom was graduating with a master's degree from same school. Ryan sat in front of me. He clapped for every kid who got on stage to get their diploma. I was so tired from such a long ceremony that I almost didn't even clap for my brother. This is my time to shine. I won't go into too many details for privacy, but I was at an industry party where I happened to befriend a small group of people who I later found out were Ryan Gosling's posse. Ryan wasn't there, and we just hung out and drank at the party all night and became friends. When the time came to leave, I offered them a ride to their hotel as I'm local and they were visiting, and they happily accepted. But when we got to my car, I saw I had a flat tire. I was horribly embarrassed, but they said not to worry about it and they would have their friend come pick them up. This was before Uber and Lyft became popular. So they're all drunk and Instagramming the scene while I'm on my hands and knees trying to change my flat tire when a black Cadillac Escalade rolls up and Ryan Gosling hopped out of the back and herded his drunk friends in the car. I thought that would be that, but he walked over to me and told me he was calling a tow company to take my car to a shop and get a new tire on, and thanked me for helping his friends. Said good luck buddy. And disappeared into the night like a peeping rockstar hipster Jesus. Put the tow and the tire on his card. Needless to say, I think Ryan Gosling is a good guy. I saw Bryan Cranston at the Space Needle, didn't ogle, but made eye contact. He knew I recognized him, but I didn't say anything. Oddly, later that same day saw him in a nearby bar. He paid for a round for my friend and I as he left. Pretty sure he appreciated not bothering him. Super nice. Sally Ride. The first American woman in space. I was in the 4th grade and I had a science project to do. My mom found out that Sally Ride would be in the Tri-State area giving a lecture on her experiences as an astronaut. There were Q&A cards that were given at the beginning of the show and my mom filled on out without me knowing. She wrote what would be the most interesting opinion/fact you could give a 4th grader who is doing a science project. She answered how she believed that there is no way we humans are alone in the galaxy. After the show, one of her backstage guys came up to me and my parents and said, "I bet you are the one here for a science project." I was pretty much the only kid at the lecture and asked if I would like to meet Sally. We got VIP passes and I met her backstage. She was really kind and soft spoken, and my mom has the photo of us together. A few years ago, Tenacious D played a concert in Kuala Lumpur. The building the concert was in was pretty small, and there's no way they made a lot of money from the show. Despite that, after the show was over, Jack Black came back out on the stage and just chatted and joked around with people for like an hour. My buddy yelled out, "I love your shirt." Jack Black yelled back, "I love your shirt. Trade me." Then he took off his shirt and threw it to my buddy, who threw his shirt to Jack Black. Jack Black threw my friend's shirt back after pretending to try it on. My friend is much thinner than Black. Haha. And then told him to keep his shirt from the concert. It was a great experience. Can confirm. Jack Black is an awesome guy. My ex-sister-in-law is his personal assistant. When she broke up with her boyfriend, they let her live with them until she found an apt. My ex and I helped move her furniture into their basement and stayed at their house a night, and he was so nice and welcoming and was genuinely interested in where we are from, the Midwest, and our lives. I met Penn and Teller in New York City when they did some New York City shows one year. They had a meet and greet, and I got to meet both of them. I was kinda starstruck because I was a big fan, but they were super cool about it. And it was really weird for Teller to talk to me. Also, Teller isn't short. Penn is just peeping huge. Brad Pitt is a top-notch guy in real life. I met him in Malta while he was filming Troy. I was guiding a group of students as a group leader on a holiday trip, and we saw Pitt just walking out of a cafe. He took time to take lots of pictures with all the kids and was really nice to everyone. Among my group were a bunch of teenage girls who almost fainted. Hilarious day all around. Haven't had many rude experiences, but I can definitely attest that Michael Fassbender was a kind man who acted more excited to meet me than I was to meet him. Very satisfied by that experience. Met Mark Hamill at a comic book store in Maryland back in '96. What a kind and friendly guy. Kinda Hugh Jackman. He's known for being nice, but I didn't expect him to be so genuine and actually keep the conversation going, and to keep asking questions and showing interest. It must be exhausting considering how many people he meets every day, yet he is always on. Ruder, Will Ferrell. He's known for being rude and mean, and I thought maybe it was exaggerated as people might expect him to be nice and funny and are disappointed when he's not. He was okay to me as in he didn't talk any speak, but I saw him being a complete and utter prick to others. Can confirm Hugh Jackman is a gem. He used to train at the Trapeze Regaiflo at DSNY in New York City. He was there for my first ever class and was training privately. He came over to the class afterwards, on his own, and chatted us up for probably 15 minutes. There were maybe 15 people total at the rig. This was during his Wolverine days. Super nice. Affable. Curious about trapeze. His kids took classes, his son, not as nice. Undefined.